It's Wednesday, March 26th, 2025. Trump intel officials speak election integrity efforts from the White House, and there's one really stupid argument I hear over and over again next on the AM Update.
There was no classified material that was shared in that.
So then if there was no classified material, share it with the committee.
To be clear, I haven't participated in any signal group messaging that relates to any classified information.
And we should go to paper ballots. We should go to one-day voting. We should go to voter ID.
My publication, The Federalist, and I have been targets of the censorship industrial complex.
Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now.
Certain officials from the intelligence community from the Trump administration spoke in front of the Senate yesterday. It is really curious timing, isn't it? That we had that Signal group chat fiasco, and it just so happened to be about 48 hours before a scheduled meeting of intel officials in front of the Senate. Anyway, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard says there was no classified material that was shared on that Signal group chat between figures like Vice President Vance, Defense Secretary Hegseth, and others.
Contact the defense secretary or others after this specific military planning was put out and say, hey, we should be doing this in a skiff.
There was no classified material that was shared in that.
So then if there was no classified material, share it with the committee. You can't have it both ways. These are important jobs. This is our national security.
That's the voice of Senator Mark Warner of Virginia. Jeffrey Goldberg, editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, who was involved accidentally in that text thread between those various figures within the Trump administration. Well, he started to walk back his claims that there actually was probably classified material. Here he is on MSNBC.
Responsible here and not disclose the things that I read and saw. I will describe them to you. The specific time of a future attack, specific targets, including human targets, meant to be killed in that attack, weapon systems, even weather reports, that the government is I don't know why Hegseth was sharing it with everybody. I mean, the precise detail.
So weather reports, general timeframes about when an attack could be happening. Yeah, that does not sound like classified war plans necessarily to me. And there were times, it's been reported, there were times within that conversation that Jeffrey Goldberg was privy to that he should not have been privy to. There were points at which various figures involved in that group would say, hey, we need to have this conversation upstairs or above board or whatever the term is for, we need to have this in a more classified setting than a Signal group chat. Here's CIA Director John Ratcliffe being asked by a senator if he's ever been involved with any other Signal group chats.
To be clear, I haven't participated in any signal group messaging that relates to any classified information.
I don't know. The longer this goes on, I'll be completely honest. When I first saw this story come through, at the very least, I thought, and it still is embarrassing. Like, this should not even be in the realm of possibility if something like this happened. It's just kind of amateur hour. But the longer the story has gone on, it really does not seem. The bottom line is, the Houthis were taken out. The whole operation was designed to stop terrorists from shooting at our service members stationed over there. That was accomplished, and hopefully lessons learned. Moving on, some actions are being taken to maybe up election integrity. Here is Donald Trump at the White House yesterday. He signed an executive order that requires documentary government-issued proof of U.S. citizenship on its voter registration forms, conditions federal election-related funds on states complying with the integrity measures set forth by federal law, directs the updating of the Voluntary Voting System Guidelines 2.0, directs Attorney General to enter into information-sharing agreements with state election officials to identify cases of election fraud and other things. Here he is talking about what he's actually trying to accomplish.
And it's so easy to do it, and we should go to paper ballots. We should go to one-day voting. We should go to voter ID. And just one other thing, proof of a thing called citizenship in the United States. Wouldn't that be nice? How simple does that sound? Proof of citizenship, voter ID, one-day voting, and paper ballots. You know, paper ballots are very secure. They have watermark paper. It's very intricate stuff. It's very technologically advanced, even though it's paper. and you'd have no trouble. You wouldn't have dishonest elections, and you'd have them all done by 10 o'clock in the evening. You know, France went to that, and not that I want to copy anybody, but many others have also, and they had 38 million votes, and it was all done at 10 o'clock. They had a winner, they had a loser, that was it.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I can't really, I don't think my body has any more 3 a.m. election results left. I just don't think it does. You can always dream. This executive action, again, the Trump administration doing all they can with their executive power, which has been challenged by courts, and I'm sure this one is headed there as well, doing all they can within their power to change and right all the wrongs, seemingly, over the last 5 to 10 years in this country. One of those wrongs is James Boasberg, the judge who tried to turn flights of illegal aliens, terrorists, around, point him back towards the United States. Well, how about this from Matt Margolis at PJ Media? New dirt on Judge Boasberg raises more questions. Here's the story. The district court judge who recently blocked President Donald Trump's efforts to deport illegal alien gang members attended a suspiciously partisan legal conference just months before his ruling, according to a judicial ethics report. Judge James Boasberg, who serves on the D.C. District Court, participated in what appears to be nothing more than a Democrat strategy session masquerading as a legal conference in Sun Valley, Idaho. The conference's agenda items, Judges in a Democracy and the State of Democracy, sound eerily similar to the Democrats' tiresome 2024 campaign rhetoric about saving democracy, which of course has become the justification for their using the courts to obstruct Trump's agenda. Called a privately funded seminar disclosure report, the document discloses that Boasberg was in attendance, but offers no details of whether Boasberg was paid for his attendance or travel, or what the remuneration was. The outlet was alerted to the conference and to Boasberg's attendance by a retired Democrat-appointed judge who was concerned the July 2024 conference's focus on judges' role in a democracy was too close to a political party's theme for comfort. That is very interesting. Judge James Boasberg, one of the chief saboteurs of the Trump administration so far, he was actually ratted out by another former Democrat-appointed judge for attending a conference that was less of a conference and more of a partisan political action powwow. Couldn't see that coming. Meanwhile, back in Washington, D.C., Molly Hemingway of The Federalist testified in front of Congress yesterday on the topic of the censorship industrial complex.
My publication, The Federalist, and I have been targets of the censorship industrial complex. In June of 2020, a foreign group with the Orwellian name, the Center for Countering Digital Hate, engineered an operation to demonetize us because we published a critique of corporate media coverage of Black Lives Matter riots. The massive BLM protests were the most expensive of any civil disorder in U.S. history, at $2 billion or more in insurance claims. Many in the media falsely described the arson, looting, and killings as peaceful, or, who can forget, mostly peaceful.
Molly Hemingway of The Federalist talking about how there's pretty much a global group, global consortium of left-wingers who banded together to try to cancel The Federalist and try to deplatform and demonetize them. Tell you what, folks, having worked in this industry for a decade now, there are many such cases of this, especially in the last 5 years, and you know that probably well. This is not a new thing. And it is a problem and will persist to be a problem even to this day. I've tried to give Elon Musk as much credit, as much benefit of the doubt as possible for his purchase of the platform X, and I still believe it's one of the main reasons why we got the outcome in the last election that we did. However, good grief, that platform is basically unusable, at least for growing an audience or growing a following. I mean, I've talked to a few people now that have stated the same thing. The shadow banning, as well as the deboosting, whatever you want to call it, is very real when it comes to right-wing accounts. So, again, I don't know where to go from here. You got the richest dude in the world to buy one of the biggest social media platforms in the world, and right now it still seems like it's not that much different from the old lefty management. Former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee had his confirmation hearing for ambassador to Israel yesterday in front of Congress. It was derailed from the word go.
Committee, I want to say thank you very, very much for giving me the privilege of coming to...
I mean, couple of banshees there in attendance. Kind of sounded like the Nazgul who were in attendance yesterday on the AM update. Mike Huckabee, as always, has the right thing to say at the right time.
Sorry about that. Committee will come back to order, and Mr. Huckabee, please proceed.
I will mark them down undecided, Senator.
Well played. And now Jasmine Crockett, Congresswoman from Texas, back in the spotlight again for the second consecutive day. Here she is at the Human Rights Campaign Gala.
Because we in these hot-ass Texas streets, honey.
This is a U.S. Congresswoman, by the way.
Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now.
Yeah, she's referring to her governor, Greg Abbott, who uses a wheelchair and has for many decades. Referring to him as Governor Hot Wheels, Congresswoman Crockett said in a follow-up statement yesterday, "I wasn't thinking about the governor's condition. I was thinking about the planes, trains, and automobiles he used to transfer migrants into communities led by black mayors, deliberately stoking tensions and fear among the most vulnerable." Crockett, not too long ago, reposted a very sharp criticism of Greg Abbott, so she's not fooling anybody. She is so bad, I want her to stay in Congress forever. And I want her to have the largest platform possible. That's how bad she is. You see, are you picking up what I'm putting down? She does more damage to them than we could do ourselves. On some level, I think I have to think that's true. All right, a couple of more items here. Let's go to this. This is Nicole Shanahan, RFK Jr.'s running mate during his independent presidential bid. She was interviewed by Allie Beth Stuckey over at The Blaze and discusses more about her recent conversion to Christianity and baptism and what exactly happened that led her there.
Something happened to me last September, which I haven't really started to talk about, but I'll share with you. You know, Jacob and I, we got pregnant. I got pregnant on the campaign trail unexpectedly. And I was 20 weeks pregnant.
Wow.
And we were starting to taper down the campaign, and but I wanted to go out there for mothers, and so I really wanted to keep doing more, even though my body was kind of like, you got to slow down. But I was right at that very end, and then I had wrapped an interview actually with Megyn Kelly, and that was the day that I had my miscarriage, and it was pretty far along. It was really scary.
Yes. Wow.
I almost lost my life. Wow. And I was at Stanford. Actually, at 20 weeks, they take you to delivery.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went into delivery, and it was just not a good situation. Lost over 4 liters of blood. You only have 4 liters of blood, so I lost pretty much everything.
Oh my goodness.
And pretty much was dying. I was dying and was losing a baby, and it was a very scary experience. But at the same time, you know, I was taken so close to the end. And you could feel it. I could feel it, right? Like I could feel...
Like you could feel your life slipping from you?
Yeah. I had lost so much blood. And they were, you know, I waited till... I wanted to save the baby, so I waited to do the surgery. I didn't want to lose the baby. And so I was like, just wait, maybe it'll stop. So I waited, and I probably waited a little bit too long. And so then came the transfusion, and then, you know, the kind of rushing into the OR. And there's this moment where, like, I actually had peace.
Yeah. Wow.
With this idea of going. And the chaplain came in, and, you know, you just don't know if you're going to come out of surgery.
Right.
So it was a moment of like, I want to live. I'm going to fight. Because I want to come back for my daughter, my 6-year-old. And I know she needs me. And God, if like you want to bring me back, I'm going to give it my all.
It's Nicole Shanahan. That is an amazing testimony, revealing for the first time with Allie Beth Stuckey over at The Blaze that she suffered a miscarriage while on the campaign trail with RFK Jr., and it nearly cost her life as well. But that was the beginning of her conversion and recent baptism. And I just, again, trying to take my own advice here. You don't never want to launch new converts into the spotlight. You never want to throw cold water on them either. But I think highlighting stories, testimonies like that is really important, good, true, and beautiful. What an amazing, amazing story from Nicole Shanahan. And finally, air analysis. I know this was a little bit shorter of an episode today. Sometimes I have to do that because I have a life outside of, well, media. So, air analysis today. I've seen a version of this argument several times, and I don't know what's behind it, but several times. I saw it probably 10 different times in 10 different scenarios over the long weekend. And that goes something along these lines. I posted that just as a regular, everyday citizen, we should not have a welfare state. But if we're going to have one, I would prefer, just as a citizen, as a taxpayer, that my money go to funding or helping poor families buy something like a rotisserie chicken, which you can't purchase right now with SNAP benefits. Purchase a rotisserie chicken rather than being able to purchase pop, soda, whatever you want to call it. Okay? Well, aside from the fact I was called a lib for that by somebody else, another person responded and said, well, isn't the left going to use this to ban all meat for everyone when they get back into power? That was a good argument maybe 20 years ago. Maybe 20 years ago. In the year 2025? No. Has the left not shown us that they're going to weaponize literally anything and everything all the time? Did we not just see lefties use a specious application of the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act to throw Holocaust-surviving grandmas in jail over the past few years? They're going to use everything and anything against us, regardless of whether or not we do it first. Now, when it comes to the issue of pop and maybe banning SNAP funds, welfare funds from being used to purchase soda, sugary drinks like that, the left didn't do that anyway, so that by definition isn't doing the same thing that they do, which was another part of this person's argument. But I've seen this all over the place. We can't do anything at all. We can't act affirmatively at all, because what if the left uses it against us? It's just, if you take that argument to its logical conclusion, it's just an excuse to do nothing at all, because you're afraid of what the left might do that they're already going to do anyway, whether or not you do it or not. It just becomes an excuse to do nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the year 2025. No more being afraid of, what if the left does this to us? No, they're already going to do that. My favorite scene from Breaking Bad, and I'm not going to set everything up for you. If you've seen the series, you know what I'm talking about, is when Hank tells Walter White, Walt, you're the smartest guy I ever knew, and even you were too dumb to see that he made up his mind 10 minutes ago. That's what the left is. They made up their mind about what they're going to do to us 10 minutes ago. So regardless of what we do from here, we know their intentions. So dispense that thinking from your ecosystem, from your mind. I'm afraid of what the left will do to us if they use the premise that we set against us. They were already going to do that. Anyway, that's my 2 cents today. Back at it again tomorrow. I'm Mayor McIntire, and this is the AM Update.